The MAGA Republicans in the House are furious right now, and honestly, for once, they might actually have a reason. Because what Senate Republicans just did, it's one of the most shameless, self-serving moves we've seen in a while. Apparently tucked deep inside the government funding bill, the same bill that was supposed to prevent another shutdown, was a hidden provision giving at least 8 Republican senators a guaranteed $500,000 payout, maybe even more. Why? Because their phone numbers were subpoenaed by special counsel Jack Smith during his investigation into Donald Trump's plot to overturn the 2020 election. Not their calls, not their voicemails, just their numbers. And somehow, that's apparently worth $500,000 taxpayer dollars each.
Talk about it being good governance. The thing that I can't get past, though, and this is, again, I mean, for the American citizens, if you go to page 227 of the bill, limited retroactive applicability. In general, the amendments made by this section shall apply to any acquisition, subpoena, search, accessing, disclosure of Senate data as defined in Section 10A of the Legislative Branch Appropriations Act of 2005, and to any failure to disclose such an acquisition, subpoena, search, accessing, or disclosure occurring on or after January 1 of 2022. So it's given them the ability to retroactively go back. We know, you literally know who, at least, we may not know all of them, but we at least know the list of some of them. In this paragraph, the term violation section 10 is the meaning given to the violation section. It goes on from there. But there's also language in there where it indicates that each account is a separate payment. Now, this language did not go through any committee markup. This language was not shared with the House of Representatives prior to it being put in the bill. And I personally agree that it should be removed. The problem is, if we remove it, the Senate, it has to go back to the Senate. And then you're right back to where you were 40 days ago, where all of a sudden you're trying to get a piece of legislation out of the.
So this Republican congressman is outraged. But notice what he says right after. Basically, yeah, this is terrible, but we're not going to do anything about it. It's classic Washington hypocrisy. They get mad for the cameras and then still vote yes. Next up, Congressman Chip Roy, who's always yelling about government corruption, losing it over the fact that his own party slipped this in.
Powers, concerns, all the things. We can debate all that. But, we think it was pretty egregious. So I have no problem with the prospect of going after and trying to empower, even through private right of action, a way to go, because we do it in other contexts, consent decrees and other things. But the retroactive, potential to have dollars going to United States senators, when we've got American citizens, whether it was J6ers, whether it was people from the FACE Act, whether it was others that have also had the full force of the federal government through the Department of Justice targeting and coming down on them, and they're going to see, oh, but you can slide in a provision in here for United States senators? Like, it is beside my comprehension that this got put in the bill, and is why people have such a low opinion of this town. I am torn also, the gentleman from Georgia, because we need to fund the government and we need to get this passed. And I'm trying to figure out what we can do to force the Senate's hand to say you're going to repeal this provision and fix it without amending it here to then delay the funding of government, which we want to proceed to go move forward with. But that provision needs to get fixed, and we need to find a way as a body to get it fixed as soon as possible. And I'm continuing explore the options tonight. I yield back to the gentleman from Georgia.
Mr. Scott, would you yield?
I just want to point out it's $500,000, and the way it's written, it is a minimum of $500,000. It is per line.
He's so close to getting it, so close. But instead of fixing it, he just complains that removing it might delay the bill. Translation: we'll just let the corruption slide. And then my personal favorite.
Griffith, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I, too, am very concerned about those sections. I will tell you, I've already made the decision that I will vote for this bill and not vote for any amendments, because the shutdown needs to end. It's been going on too long. Too many of my people are hurting, and we got to get it done. There's some other issues in here, not as egregious, but at least it was done in the light of day with a vote. But the hemp issues that was a fight between gentlemen in the Senate from Kentucky, both of them fighting each other. I don't agree with the solution they came up with, but I'm voting for it because I've got too many people that need the government to open. And therefore, notwithstanding, we're going to hear some great amendments, I'm sure, but I'm not voting for any of them because we need to get this thing done, and then we can start negotiating on other things.
They all say it's wrong, every single one of them, and yet not one is willing to stop it. Now, when the Democrats got their turn, Representative Joe Neguse laid it out perfectly, because this isn't just corruption, it's self-dealing. It's the definition of swamp behavior.
From haranguing the chairman, I'm given the
Jesus
opportunity
Christ.
for the chairman to explain
Give us
the
a
meaningful
break.
work that he's been engaged in, and I suspect that he welcomes and relishes that. So I want to talk to you about the provision that my colleague from Pennsylvania noted earlier. And this is the provision that essentially allows specifically 8 Republican United States senators to reap upwards of a $500,000 payday with respect to the phone record notice provision that they've added into the bill. You support that provision?
I didn't have anything to do with it, didn't have any knowledge of it.
Not asking you if you have knowledge of it. Do you support it?
Yeah. Do I support the bill? Yes. Do I support every single provision of the bill? No.
You don't find this provision repugnant? I think most American people are going to find this pretty repugnant.
I was surprised to see it in the bill. I was unaware of it. It was not.
Why not work with us to remove it?
Let's see what you do.
Well, we've got an amendment.
I will tell you this. I am very concerned, and actually Democratic senators said this. I think particularly of Senator Coons. I am very concerned that anybody, whether they're in the House or the Senate, is singled out and not notified that their records are being subpoenaed. That concerns me a great deal.
And does that justify?
Now, did I know about this provision in the bill? No. Do I think it needs to be in a funding bill? Not particularly. But do I think getting the governments open is important? Yes, I do. But I was unaware of the provision, so.
Well, there's an amendment that will be introduced I'm not asking a question. Mr. Chairman, not asking you a question. Let me finish my statement, and then you'll have an opportunity. Yeah, there will be an amendment proposed to remove what I think is a deeply insidious provision. I think it is outrageous for these Republican senators to effectively guarantee themselves $1 million paydays. Retroactive provision in this bill that very clearly applies to them. The removal of all relevant immunity defenses on the part of the United States government. This is insanity to allow this provision to go forward. And I would hope that my Republican colleagues would join us in supporting the removal of this provision. At a minimum, we ought to be able to find common ground on that. So with that, Madam Chair.
Exactly. People can't afford rent. Grocery prices are climbing. Healthcare is being gutted. And these senators think they are the victims because their phone numbers showed up in an investigation into an attempted coup. And if you're wondering who these 8 senators are, yeah, they're the usual suspects. Lindsey Graham, Josh Hawley, Tommy Tuberville, Marsha Blackburn, Ron Johnson, Bill Hagerty, Dan Sullivan, and Cynthia Lummis. Every one of them could now claim $500,000 from you, the taxpayer, because they didn't like being part of an investigation about January 6th. And get this, the bill even removes the government's ability to fight back in court. No immunity, no defense, just a straight path to the cash. Even Democratic senators like Chris Murphy and Mark Kelly called it out right away. So now you've got Senate Republicans enriching themselves and sneaking in a last-minute ban on hemp products, something that wasn't even publicly debated. This is what corruption looks like. Not just money changing hands, but the abuse of power to quietly rewrite laws for personal benefit. And remember, the same people doing this are the ones screaming about draining the swamp.